Thank you for tuning in. In this video, what I'm going to be covering is when you reach a point in your business and you have an overflow of it, you're going to have to delegate. So in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to delegate. And for you guys that are hiring an admin, what to look for in an admin. If you're looking for a real estate sales admin or any admin because your business is growing, you definitely want to watch this video. Hit that like button so we can get started. Let's go and let's get it. Before we get into the credentials of when to hire an admin, let's just think about how to delegate, because a lot of us, we don't know how. If you are a doer like me, if you're a high achiever, we don't understand business per se. A lot of high achievers, we understand profitability. We know how to get our profit up because we just work until we make more money, but we don't understand scalability. And sometimes you have to delegate tasks to others that might even do it worse than you can do it. Yes, let's say that again. Delegate it to people that can probably do it worse than you can do it, but you still need to delegate. Okay, so let's go through all the things that we need to so we can understand how to actually delegate, get our mind around this whole delegation thing. The first thing I want to cover is delegating to specialists. What do I mean by delegating to specialists? Finding the people, the right people on the bus. You can't just find everybody when you get so busy. You're like, okay, I got to find somebody. No. You got to find the right person. So this has a lot to do with recruiting. Okay. Your recruitment game has to be on point, because if you delegate to the wrong person, you're done. So let's say you need to delegate something in like sales. Well, you want to make sure that you hire people that have the sales ethic in them, have sales experience in them, have that sales personality in them. Okay. You can, when I was, hiring for my sales team, OSAs stands for outside sales agents. So as I got busier, I wasn't working in my business anymore. I was working on my business. So the things that I used to do on the field, which I love to do, which is sales, I had to delegate that to others. So I made a lot of mistakes along the way. It wasn't until I perfected my recruiting system, started really getting the right people on the bus through my whole recruitment process. I can do a video on the entire recruitment process. If you give me a like, I will make sure I get that in. It wasn't until then that I started running this fine oiled machine. So the first thing you got to understand is really taking the time in recruitment and hiring specialists, hiring people that can do the job. A lot of people will put their hand up and think that they can do the job, but it is up to you as a CEO, it is up to you as the founder, it's up to you as the rainmaker to make sure that you get the right person or people as you get bigger. Okay. The next thing I want to handle on how to delegate is use time saved to grow company. Now, that's a very important part. So as you delegate, you hire your salesperson, you hire your first admin, your first operations person, your first inside sales agents to make the phone call, whatever that is. Let's use inside salesperson for this example. So let's say you ran a sales business, let's say real estate sales, and you were the person calling all the leads, making all the appointments, and then you were also the person that was going to all the appointments. Okay. Now you got really busy. So what you want to do is just go and show up to all the appointments. So you hired somebody to do all the phone calls, to call all the leads, to nurture all the leads. And as soon as they have somebody that's qualified, they call you up, say, hey, Rick, go ahead and show up at this address to meet this person. Pretty good life, right? So now let's say you put 20 hours a week in prospecting and another 20 hours in showing being in listing appointments. Let's just say now you have 20 hours that freed up because you hired that person. That doesn't mean you go golfing, y'all. There's a difference between profitability and scalability. That means you use those 20 hours a week in this example that you free up to work on your business. to work on your marketing, to perfect your operations, to perfect your scripts, maybe to train and recruit more outside sales agents so you can get out of the outside sales part too. You have the inside sales covered in this example. Go start recruiting and training outside sales agents so you can completely work on your business and not in your business. You know what I'm saying? So the point is, when you delegate, that doesn't mean you use that free time to do nothing. You still use that free time that you cleared up to work on your business. Next point. This is a very important part for me to understand, so I'm going to share it with you. Just because you are the best at the task doesn't mean that you should do it. Look, as the rainmaker, as the CEO, probably there's going to be nobody, especially when it comes to sales, in operations in my business right now. Hey, man, I can't mess with the people that are hired because I don't like operations. I don't like systems. I like thinking of them. I like creating them, but I don't like doing the day-to-day data entry and all that kind of stuff. That's not my forte. So they are better than me. So, but when it comes to sales, I probably, if you're someone that's running a sales team and now you're the person that's out of the field and more doing recruiting and training, you probably feel what I'm feeling. You'll probably not be able to find another you. Right? So a lot of times I would have to go back on the field, because my business was down. I wasn't netting enough profits. Guys, if you are running an independent sales team under a brokerage or under, just you run the brokerage, doesn't matter. If you're running a sales team in real estate, guys, you have to understand your gross profits are slim, right? There's a lot of expenses. You are sharing now with outside sales agents your commissions, but you are still the one that is spending on marketing and advertising and operations and salaries and lunches and dinners and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So let's say you made a $20,000 commission check. $10,000 of that goes to 50-50 split, goes out to your outside sales agent, right? Which would be pretty cool if I kept that whole entire $10,000 to myself, but I don't, because I have salaries, I have marketing, I have da-da-da-da, and that's cutting half again, let's say. So I'm really giving away $15,000 and keeping $5,000. So your profits go slim. And you know what? I'm being nice. Your profits are less than that. Your gross profits on a well-oiled sales team is 10 to 20%. If you make $1 million in gross commission income, you're probably taking home $100,000 to $200,000. Different story for a different day. We'll get into that. But for this example, just because you're the best, like I was saying, I was the best in sales, that doesn't mean I can't delegate. I would have to delegate it if I want to scale. Staying profitable versus scaling. Okay, so if you want to scale, you got to delegate jobs even that you are the best at. So as you do that, my next point is you got to get really good at forcing yourself not to do it. Learning to let go. Right? You got to let go, because one of the, if you're watching this, you're probably a high achiever or you want to be a high achiever. And high achievers have a tough time, a very difficult time in letting go of tasks because they know that they can do it the best. And the other part of that is they're very bad. One of my points here, I'm going to say it early, is they're very bad at training. They're good at doing, but for them to get what they know in here and to try to teach it to somebody, man, that is such a high task because this person is not good in operation. That was me. I'm describing me. I'm like, let me just do this myself. By the time I teach you and all this kind of stuff, guys, don't make the mistake I did. You have to force yourself not to do it. And then my next point is duplicate. Teach them. Train them. Take the time to make this person another you. Now, what helps here is operations, having the right checklist, having the right training protocol, having the right meetings, and then having the right proximity to others when it comes to shadowing. Make sure you have all of that when you're duplicating and you're helping people, right? Because a conversation of just training and just me doing verbal diarrhea is not good enough. I used to do that in the beginning. I was a very good motivator, but I wasn't good at like accountability. So I would motivate, they wouldn't do it. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Now I have checklists, I have courses, I have a formula, I have accountability, I have meetings, I have all these things in my training that make sure that these people are actually doing their job. So if it's not duplicatable, it doesn't count. If it's not duplicatable, it doesn't count because you will never scale. And the whole point, I said this 4 times in 4 different ways, but let me just say it to you very direct. The whole point of delegation is to scale. Okay? So now, recruit the right people on the bus. We talked about that. Now, the duplication process is so important. You need to train until you trust. Train until you trust. I want you to write that down, because sales for me, for any business, is the thing that brings the money in. And that's what I was the best at. So can you understand how hard it was for me to let go? Right? But I had to. So I had to train the people until I could trust them. And I also understood my conversion is going to go down. So me, let's say I went into 10 appointments and I would get 8 of them. I would get 8 contracts. So my conversion rate, let's say, is 80%. So now for me to train a person at an 80% conversion rate is impossible, because the type of people that wanted to join my team are probably people that needed help. Because successful agents do not want to join a sales team. They want to create their own sales team. And I might be lucky enough to get somebody in the onset, like a rock star in the beginning, which I trained, and now eventually they're going to want to leave the nest. And if you have half a heart and you see the potential in them, you're going to say, yes, how can I help you be the best version of yourself? It is time for you to go. So now let's go back to the example. If I would get 8 out of 10 listings, let's say, I know I can't train that to people. So what I would have to do is I have to make sure I'm going to 20 listing appointments instead of 10. Because I'm working on my business, I could scale the number of appointments. I could do more marketing, do more advertising, get better systems, lead generation, get my ISA, inside sales agents, to book those appointments. So instead of booking 10, I need to know that I need to go and get 20 appointments. So now, if I get 20 appointments, and let's say out of the 20, I can get 12 contracts. Well, that's not an 80% conversion anymore. However, in the same time horizon, if I could get 8 myself, I'm doing 12 as a team. So I got 4 more. Not good enough, because remember I said my profitability is low. So I have to double. If I was getting 8 contracts a month, let's say, on my own, how can I get to 25 a month? That's scaling, right? Because I'll need to 3x what I'm doing in order to be profitable, because I'm sharing the wealth now. I have salaries now. I have advertising now. So that scalability can be cost time consuming, and it could be expensive. That's why a lot of teams fail. A lot of you that think you're running a real estate team are not running a real estate team. You just got a bunch of people together to get some nice pictures wearing some nice clothes with beautiful real estate agents and a drone shot, and now you put to Instagram that you have a sales team. No, you don't. You don't have a sales team. You have a group picture. That's what you got. You got a group picture where everybody looks nice, and you put your name of your team. You have no operations. You have no idea what you're doing. You have no training manuals. You have no recruiting system. You have nothing. You don't have advertising. You just have a bunch of good-looking people, and this is my sales team. You're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. Don't do that. Because a lot of times, man, I understand recognition is a motivating factor for a lot of us. We want to be seen as somebody. And we know that the sales team is the way to go. Look, a lot of you are running the sales team in the right way. And you people should give me a like, because you know what I'm talking about. Right? But a lot of you are not. Okay, so if you want to learn how to do that properly, hire a coach. Hire a coach, send me a comment. I can hop on a call with you. Guys, do this the right way, okay? So train until you trust. Okay, here's another thing that I wasn't good at. Be clear with your expectation. So have a job description. So let's say you hire, an operations person. And because we get so busy, we're so busy. Remember, we are salespeople. We're not CEOs yet. We're learning to be CEOs. We're learning to be business owners. We're learning to be team leaders and rainmakers. What we are is good salespeople, and we're suffocating. So we hire somebody. And then we hire somebody. So let's say you hire your admin, your first person. I can get to that in a second. You hire your first person, your admin. Well, now you're like, weeks go by, months go by, you're like, yo, this admin sucks. They're not doing anything. They're not helping me. And you wrote them bi-weekly checks, and 6 months go by, you're like, yo, I lost a lot of money. Salaries are expensive. Well, guess what? You're probably not training them properly. You probably don't have a job description for them. You're setting them up to fail. Okay? So we're going to get into, in a second, I got 2 more points, and then we're going to get into what to look for in an admin. Hire a project manager, be a leader, not a doer. So let's talk about that together. So hiring a project manager will be once you're scaled all the way to the top. Okay. But that admin that you hire should be your project manager in the future. We'll get into it in 1 second, but let me finish my last point on how to delegate. Be a leader and not a doer of everything. Repeating what I said. As you get good at what you're doing and you're a high achiever, and the only reason you want to run a business is because you have a screw loose like I do, you have a high achieving, thing that you want to create, that you want to do. What I'm saying is don't get rid of that. I'm saying do it the right way. You have to learn and cultivate yourself as a leader, a trainer, a recruiter, a manager, a motivator, someone that's working in your business the right way. So you're actually, to do it the right way, let's change the words a little bit. You're so used to working in your business, you got to get rid of that. You got to work on your business. Let the salespeople, let the operations, let the customer service department work in your business. You got to be working on it to scale it up. Business development, training, managing, recruiting, marketing. You got to be working on all that kind of stuff, right? So the first part of this video is going to teach you how to delegate. Hopefully you guys got some value from that. If you did, give me a like, subscribe to the channel. More love you give me, the more love I can give you, right? So now let's wrap this up here. This is for my real estate sales people or anybody that's in sales that wants to hire an admin. That's the first person that we should hire. And when we hire this admin, be very particular. Like here's the secret sauce, okay? The best admin I have that's now the COO of my company was somebody I met at the front desk of my past brokerage. This person was a front desk girl, and then she was a deal secretary. So she knows the whole real estate game. She knows from how to type an offer, how to upload an MLS listing, to how to cash checks, how to be a deal secretary, everything. So you need to find a person that knows real estate just like you do. Maybe not the sales part, but the operations part, because good salespeople, that's where you suffer. And a good place to look at them is people that you used to work with. I'm not saying you go steal them, but if you have to, you got to do what you got to do, man. Recruiting is part of the game. People in sports get traded, free agents get signed. Business is no different. If people can't keep these people, you go get them. Person I have today, I saw her. She left the real estate brokerage. She was working at a car place. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Come over here. I got you. Here's the point. When you're good at sales, hire somebody that's good at operations. Hire somebody you can have a good business relationship, a good life relationship with. This is going to be your right-hand person. This is the person that's going to help you grow everything. So you want to take care of that person. Okay. Now, you don't want to be so reliant on that person that if they left, you're screwed. I'm not saying that, because you're the leader of the ship. However, that person is eventually going to be your chief operating officer. They're going to get so good at all the types of the business, because when your business is low volume, when it's really low volume, you're the rainmaker. You're the only single person. Let's talk about real estate sales. You're doing everything. You're doing all the prospecting. You're going on the appointments. You're doing the contracts. You're organizing all the photography, staging, videography. You're doing the open houses. You're doing the seller feedback calls. You're showing buyers. You're doing buyer consults. You're doing everything. You're doing your commission trust. You're doing all of it, everything. As your volume goes up, you have to understand you can't do all of that stuff. So the first thing you need to do is keep all the sales, keep all the money making activities to yourself, get rid of all the operations. That's your first hire. Okay? So now you're still making money. You should be making more money because that operations person is helping you go on more appointments. Your second hire should be a buyer's agent and probably an inside sales agent as well. Maybe another admin. Guys, show me some love. Subscribe to the channel, and I will make a video on a whole team analysis, what you need, how to start an entire team, each part of a team, what to look for when you're hiring those team members. We can also do another video of looking at your P&L, your profit and loss statement of a team, where you can expect where your gross profit should be. How do you make your gross profits higher? What to get rid of, what to add, what expenses to get down, what revenue streams to add, to make sure that when you're putting in the effort, you are getting the result, guys. Thank you again. Thank you for the love. If you haven't liked, shared, and comment yet, what you waiting for? See you on the next one.